Hello, everyone. Good day. Thanks for joining today's session for our coaches community, where we are going to be sharing and learning together how to use Zoom and some of the key features, such as breakout session, sharing a screen, and all the other features that are useful to do meetings, especially at this time where we are working from home. So I'm going to hand this off to Hualam. He is going to be running the show. I'm co-facilitating and assisting as we move along. And feel free to jump in and then share the expertise because this is going to be a sharing and learning session. All right, over to you, Hualam.
Okay, so I think while trying to get everyone oriented, I have a little screen over here. I hope all of us can see it clearly. Uh, Basically, it's just to orientate you to your screen if you are very new to Zoom. But I've seen that most of us are quite familiar with Zoom at this point of time because I've seen that most of you have actually been using virtual background. So that indicates to me that you're actually quite proficient in Zoom already. But nevertheless, I would just like to remind all of us that like what Suresh mentioned, it is good to keep yourself muted. So the mute button is at the bottom right side of your screen if you are using a computer or even your mobile devices. The video button is next to it. If you want to change your name to make it more visible or more interesting, you can actually go to participants, more, and rename. If you want to chat, you can just open your chat box. Leave it open, it is fine, so that if there are any messages that comes in, you can see it. And at the top right side, you would be able to see there's this option for you to go into gallery view where you can see everybody's face. And if you're using mobile devices, it will be a little bit different in the sense that if you want to unname yourself, you have to go to participants and then you have to click on the arrow over there and go to rename. If you are using a mobile device and you want to switch to gallery view, you just simply have to swipe to your right, and you'll be able to change the view. So that's a very quick orientation of your screen. So I hope everybody is fine. So let me just very quickly go to what we have in plan today. Yeah.
Hey,
Before I go into that.
Just a second, Hualim.
Yes.
Just before you started talking, I saw Raymond raising his hand. Raymond, is there anything that you want to ask or prompt?
He already addressed that. Okay.
Okay, all right. Thanks.
Okay.
Go ahead, Evan. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just quickly introduce myself. I'm Hua Lim. Some of you call me Xia, some call me Hua Lim. I am fine. You can call me anything you like. For ladies, you can call me anytime you like, no problem. Always available. Yep. Okay, so I think today is a session. I do not call this a teaching or learning or training session. I would call this a sharing session where all of us comes in to contribute and learn from one another. Yes, and my son here is also very interested to learn. Come in. Yeah, okay, so this my little boy here is also very interested to learn. So I think do participate and whatever questions you have, feel free to share. And what I have in mind today is to really go through 4 key areas. I think the first area is I'll talk a little bit about the equipment. What are the equipments that we can use, so on and so forth. How to set up a secure meeting. I think that is something that we are very, very concerned today because we have been hearing news about, hey, Zoom is not safe, so on and so forth. How do we manage a session? This will be the main bulk of it, and we are going to have a Q&A. So for this, I will run through very, very quickly. Is this agenda okay? Anybody have any comments or any feedback about the agenda? Please let me know. Or looks okay, yeah? Okay, if all are okay, I will just continue and we will see if there's anything that, hey, I need this specifically for my context. Do let us know. I'm planning about an hour or so for Q&A, depending on how fast we move. So, and I think importantly, before I do any training session, this is my habit. I would like to also know, or perhaps you don't need to tell me specifically at this point of time, but do consider what do we want to achieve today? What is that one thing that you specifically want to achieve by end of this session? A lot of people will say, I just want to learn everything. Practically, I think it is quite difficult to be wanting to learn everything. I think it will be more beneficial if we have something in mind, specifically one item in mind that we want to learn. So if you have this, very good. If you have not, do think about it. And if you can, do let us know in the chat below. I'm not looking at the chat at this point of time, but I will go through it later. And we will see if we can address that also. And all of us can chip in and share. So do put it into the chat.
And, hey, William, just on that point, I am looking at the chat and then responding to some of the chats. So you keep going, and then I will bring the questions when it is time so that we can join the cover as well. Yeah. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so let's go on very quickly. The first part I want to talk about is a little bit about equipment, audio and video. So I will cover a few aspects. So let's look at some of this first thing that I have in mind here. Okay, the first question that I always get when people talk to me about Zoom or any video conferencing is, should I be using a computer or a mobile device? So I'm going to throw that question back to you. Which one do you think is better and why? Why? Let me just share a little bit about my perspective, and I would like to hear yours too. Personally, for me, I would think it depends on the context that I'm going into an online meeting. If I am very confident and very sure that we are having a discussion, we will simply be chit-chatting, we'll be talking, I would prefer to use a mobile device. Why? Because it's so convenient. I just simply take out my phone and I'm just going to place it there. And I'm a person who is crazy with handphones. So even when I go to the toilet, I'll bring my phone along. I can't go to the toilet without my phone. That's how serious I am about, that's how seriously addicted I am. Having said that, there are some downside to using a mobile device. If some of you are using a mobile device at this point of time, you will understand what I mean, because you would be missing out on a lot of all that conversations that's happening in the chat. Because why? If you're using Zoom and you want to go to the chat, it is not that convenient. What do I mean by that? You have to swipe and move over to the participant screen and then go and look at the chat. It is not as convenient. So usually I would know who is using mobile device when I see that, hey, this person is not very active on chat. Most probably, this person is not active because he or she is using a mobile device. So having said that, I hope that clears up a little bit about the decision on when to use a mobile device or computer. Definitely a computer is so much more convenient. Mobile device is simply just to see each other's face, and I think that is good enough for that. But if you want to do a little bit more, go with a computer. Okay, and the next question that I always get is also, how do I look good on the computer? I mean, how do I look good on the camera? And my recommendation is always make sure that your camera is at eye level. So I'm just going to show you an example. I have two pictures over here. You can see the lady over here. This is looking at eye level. This is not at eye level. You see, if let's say I'm going to just move a little bit forward, okay, and if usually people will look something like this, and you will see that I'm actually slouching forward. If you can see my screen, I'm actually slouching forward. So let me just stop sharing and show you my screen. Okay, so if I am speaking, you will see that I'm slouching forward if I'm too near to the computer. And honestly, I think even before we talk about all the technical things, let's try to look good on the computer. So my recommendation is try to shift back so that you are comfortable and the participants can look at you comfortably too. And try to get yourself familiar with looking at the camera, because a lot of times we are so used to looking at the screen. But for example, now if I'm looking at the screen, you can actually see that I am not looking at you. I don't have that eye contact, which takes away a lot of that interaction and the engagement that we have. So try to look at the camera like what I'm doing now, and you will see that, hey, it looks more natural to everybody. So that's a quick tip. And if you can, I would strongly suggest that you elevate it
try to find whatever ways you can to elevate your computer. If you need to, just get some books below and elevate it up. So, yep. So far, I've covered a little bit of this normal common tips that I use. The next part I want to go into is to talk about equipment. Equipment, I think I see, wow, a lot of us have different good equipment. Some have that earpiece over here, some having very good equipment. My point is, it depends on what you have. It depends on what you have. If you're like me, normally what I use is actually just a Bluetooth headset or a wired headset. And this is what I get when I buy my handphone. It comes together. So I'm just using that. If you want to be a little bit more professional, you can actually separate your mic as well as your headset. Unfortunately, I'm not going to show you the difference today because I'm at home. I'm not at my office. So if you have a professional setup, it will be so much better. The voice will be so much clearer compared to what I'm using now. I'm simply using a headset over here. This is a cheap headset which I get for like $10. But it's good enough. I believe all of you can still hear me relatively reasonably okay. But of course, if you have all these good equipment, it makes a whole lot of difference. So yeah, equipment-wise, if you're asking me, is audio more important or video more important? Definitely, I would say go for the audio. So far, any questions? If you have, please let me know in the chat so I can address them, and we take a short little break here to just check in and make sure everybody is fine.
General comment to some of the questions which are coming. Those questions about breakout rooms, those questions about sharing the screen, are all will be covered. Just be patient, and those are coming.
Okay, sure. Very quickly, we will be talking about that, but let's get the equipment over with, yeah? Okay, so lightings. A lot of people actually ignore this, and actually they didn't realize the importance of lightings. I would say that a lot of people say, how do I look good on camera? In fact, lighting is the most important. You can get some light, and of course, daylight is the best. Natural light is the best, definitely. But if you are in a place like me, I'm actually at the corner of my house. While you can see behind me is my children's bookshelf. So lighting is important, and set the light in front of you so that we can see your face properly. Some people who have too lit background will find that your face is a little bit dark, we can't see you. So lighting is important, and you can see that all these lights are very affordable. So yep, lighting is very important. And next part, background screen. I think this is something that most of us are interested in, virtual background. And why I talk so much about lighting, audio, and all this, because without good audio, without a good lighting, your virtual background is virtually useless. Okay, and I would always recommend you use a background screen. You can get a screen, the price here at Shopee is a little bit expensive. In fact, I got my screen for about $20 at Lazada. I'm just showing you an example over here. I just simply went online and plug it in. So this is what I call a green screen. You can buy it for about $20 to $30 or even $40. And you can just open it up. It can form a green screen. So I would strongly recommend that. And why I recommend that, let me now go into how to do a virtual background, because that's something a lot of people are interested in, right? How do we do a virtual background? If you're using a computer, you will see that there's a video option at the bottom left side of your screen. Okay, let me know if you can't find it. If not, I'm just going to continue. Let me know in the chat or just voice out if you can't find it. If not, I'm just going to continue. You will see at the bottom left side, there's this video screen that is a video button that is over there. Next to the video button, there's an up arrow pointing up. If you're using handphone, unfortunately, only iPhone has virtual background. Android phone doesn't. Only iPhone has virtual background. Android doesn't. So for Android, you have to bear with it. And if you're using computer, you will see that there's an up arrow pointing up. Once you find that everything is quite intuitive, you click on it, and you will see that there's a choose virtual background option. And once you click on it, you will see that the box pops up. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show you that exactly because when I'm sharing my screen, you can't see it, but I will show you a print screen of it later. My point over here is let me just show you how it looks like if I don't have a green screen, which I don't have a green screen now. Let me show you how it looks like. It will look something like this. You can see that somewhere over here, this is where the green screen happened. And honestly, the green screen doesn't work without a perfect screen. So let me just quickly show you how it looks like. Yep, you can see somewhere over here, there's just a little patch. Because my whole background is too cluttered, and therefore you need to have a solid background and you need to have good lighting. So that is about virtual background. Any questions so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm purposely doing a backlight so you will see me very dark.
Yeah, I can't see your face.
Yes. Let me on the light to shine it on me. Okay. One of the things is the virtual background does not work on some of the version of your computer as well. Do take note if your Mac OS is not 10.3 and above, and your Intel processor is not i5 and above, your virtual background doesn't work because currently I'm using a MacBook Air. Okay, if this OS is not the latest one, the virtual background don't work. Yeah,
exactly.
You will give you a warning even on computer. So it doesn't apply to just Android. It also applies to even for those computers that are the processors and their OS cannot support. So
Danny.
Yeah.
But I just used the Zoom just yesterday with someone, and the other day also with Irene. It works on the password that Irene gave me, you know, but this time around, it doesn't work on, this link doesn't work on the apps that I have been using. What's wrong?
Okay. I let Hua Ling continue later. I think he will explain on the password why it doesn't work. And because it had to do with your ID, it has to, and the password that associates with the ID. Now, whether you are using a dynamic ID or a personal ID, that one I let him explain because he will go to that. I will not take over this part.
Oh, okay.
But for this area, I purposely do this is because the lighting is very important, like Hua Ling say, because if I do this, my backlight is very strong. I will look very dark. And for those who are actually wanted to do virtual background, you also have to be mindful that your computer processor and your OS also plays a part. Because now currently I'm using one. I cannot share screen. If I share screen, you can actually see there's a warning for me when I try to do Can I share screen? Okay. I'm given the permission to share screen. Okay, here I go. Okay, you see, computer doesn't meet requirement. To use virtual background without a green screen, your Mac OS version needs to be 10.1.3 or higher, and your processor must be Intel iCore i5. So
and that part is not visible to us, whatever you're reading.
Okay, let me see whether I can show.
No, it won't, because I was trying something. When it goes to Zoom and you are sharing, you can share anything and everything in your desktop. When it goes to the setting or any messages coming out back from Zoom, in the sharing, it was not sharing. I have no idea why. I just figured that out.
So you can't see my screen basically?
No, I can see your screen. We all can see your screen. We can see your virtual background screen, but can't see the
not the message. Okay, so I read out the error message to you. So basically, he's telling me that my Mac OS version doesn't support, and all my processor doesn't support this function, even on a computer in the laptop itself. So this is one thing you all need to take on. That's all. Okay, I shall stop sharing. And I hand it back to Hua Ling. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny. So if you can look at me now, you will notice that my background has changed. So what I did is, while Danny was talking, I actually took out my big green screen and I just put it behind me. And yeah, let me just shift the lighting again. So you can see that, hey, this is my virtual background. And with lightings, it will look slightly nicer. Come, you want to join? Okay. Okay, so yeah, with lighting, you actually the lighting is important. The lighting is important, and the background you try to have it as consistent as you can. Okay, and I think we spoke a few key points, and I saw a question by Dea, if I'm not mistaken, and Dea is asking, so is green better or blue better? My answer to that is that I always struggled with using green or blue until I realized, hey, it's actually a very simple answer for me. If I'm wearing something that is closer to green, I will want to use the blue. If I'm wearing something that's closer to blue, I will want to use the green. The point is to have that contrast so that, yeah, you have a better screen. Yeah. So that is about it. And also one key thing about virtual background, it depends on how vain you are. If you're as vain as me, what happens is I realize that sometimes if my lighting is not properly diffused, like what is happening now, my lighting is not exactly proper diffused because I simply have a light at home. I don't have much setup at home. Most of my setup are in my office. So when I don't have much setup at home and the lighting is a little bit diffused, you will see that there are reflection over here, your features lah. So what I do, I'm a little bit vain. So what I do is I just put a little bit of powder. You just put a little bit of makeup powder and you'll find that, hey, your face looks okay. If not, you will have all these little patches over here on your face. So yeah, that's about virtual background. So I hope I answered most of the things over here. Yes, virtual background, not 10.13. Yeah. Actually, the version is important, but it's also partly because of the graphic cards also lah. But yeah, the version is very important. If your version is the old version, it doesn't work. Yeah. So any other questions about the virtual background before I move on? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so let me just do up a quick slide to show you because I can't exactly show you my screen without it being perfectly because it doesn't really show. But let me just very quickly go do this. Okay. Just give me a second, yeah. Okay, if you're wondering how do I do the virtual background, let me just share my screen once more. Okay, the first step is you have to go to the video. This is the video button that I was talking about earlier on. The up arrow is over here. You just need to click on the up arrow and this screen will appear. You will see choose virtual background over here. When you click over here, it will bring you to this screen where you can choose the photo. You can also add more photos over here. And once you are done, simply just close it. 3 steps, as simple as that. So once again, the up button next to the video, virtual background, and choose the photo. So if you still have any questions, just put it into the chat below, and I'm just going to continue. Moving on to talking about how to set up a secure meeting. I think security is something that we are all very interested in and very concerned with. So let me go very quickly to show you, firstly, a video of how to schedule a meeting. Just let me change my sharing settings here.
Tab, click the Schedule a New Meeting button. You're able to change the topic of that meeting, in addition to the date, the time, and the duration of that meeting. If it needs to occur frequently, you're able to set this as a recurring meeting and change how often it will occur. You're also able to change settings like generating a unique one-time 9-digit meeting ID or using your personal meeting ID. You're able to require a meeting password and change the video default settings for both the host and the participants in your meetings. You're also able to go further and enable join before host, muting participants upon entry, and the waiting room feature. Once you've scheduled the meeting, you're able to add it to your Google, Outlook, or Yahoo Calendar, or scroll down and copy the invitation so that you can paste it and share it with anyone that will need to join your session.
Okay, that was a quick video on how to schedule a meeting. I think most of us are familiar with that. Sorry? So that was a quick video on how to share your video settings. So I believe most of us would be familiar with that. And I would like to talk about security. And honestly, this graphic, it might seem familiar with most of us over here if you have seen it. I think if I'm not mistaken, Raymond was the one who shared this. Thank you, Raymond. He shared this in the group chat. What I did is I just pick it up and I just put it here. So I think security is something that is quite important to most of us over here. So let me talk a little bit about security, and if you have any points to add, please do. Okay, so for security, one of the key things that we talk about is how to keep people safe, because we have a lot of people sort of like what they call that Zoom bomb into your meetings. So basically, these are all the security that you can adopt. First one, use a unique ID. So when we talk about unique ID, what do we mean? When you schedule or you set up a meeting, there are two types of ID. The first ID is what we call the PMI, the personal meeting ID, which it goes by default. It goes with your account. Okay, the second type of ID is what we call an automatically generated ID, which changes every meeting that you use. So if you are worried about security, the point is use a different ID every time. Let it auto-generate. Okay. The second one is, do you want to have a meeting ID? Of course, if you are worried about security, set a meeting password. Okay, set a meeting password so that whoever needs to come in, they need to have the password instead of simply having an ID. Okay. The third one, create a waiting room. I don't know whether, Suresh, if I'm not mistaken, we didn't have any waiting room earlier on, right? Everybody just simply comes in.
No, actually, I've activated waiting room because I joined in 15 minutes earlier. But after that, when they came in, I've opened up for everybody. So it's a huge group. Yep.
Okay. So waiting room is a place where so-called you let people wait. So if you experience a waiting room, what you see is when you log in, right? You will see that, hey, there's this screen that tells you that the host will let you in later. So as a host, if you're hosting a meeting, I personally recommend a waiting room because you can decide who do you want to let in. You don't want to let people that you don't know into your house, right? So it's the same logic. You can then, when you see the names popping up, you can just admit people in. How do you do that? Suresh, maybe you can show that later. Because I can't show it on my screen because I'm not the host. So you can actually create the meeting room.
I can show two things. There was a question also about how do you put the
green screen
backdrop screen, green screen, as well as this thing about how to get to the waiting room stuff.
Okay, so
once you complete this section, I can show that.
Okay, I think let's cover this, and I'll show you my green screen. And then after that, we go into the waiting room and the breakout rooms and all that. Okay, so that's for the waiting room. Later, Suresh will show you. And who can share screen? I think this is also another thing that you can control. It's also at the control, but you do not see that now because you are not the host. So what Suresh is seeing, because he's hosting this meeting, next to his share button, there's an up arrow where he has the option to control who can or cannot share screen. He can control whether can the host share screen only, or can all the participants share screen too? So that is something that the host can control. Okay, and the next one over here is to create an invite-only meeting. That means you only stipulate who can join that session. They need to sign in with the email address that you send the invitation to. So only with the email address that you send to can they join the meeting. So for example, if you are sending an email address to invite abc@gmail.com, and abc@gmail.com actually try to use another address to come in, they can't. So that's what it means by invite-only meeting. This can be done at the meeting settings, where earlier on the video that I show, where you're scheduling your meeting, you can set it there. How to lock a meeting when it starts? What it means is if you lock a meeting when it starts, participants can no longer join into the meeting. So say for example, now if Suresh is going to lock the meeting, anybody else cannot come into this meeting. And even if they try, they will find that, hey, the meeting room is locked. Okay, and this can be done only by the host again. Suresh, if you look at Suresh's screen, you will see that there's actually a button called security. It's a new button. I think they started this less than a month ago. The button is called security, and you can lock the meeting. Okay, and of course, as the host, you can remove people, you can kick them out of the meeting if they don't behave. Okay, as the host, you can also disable and mute people who are disruptive. If you choose not to kick them out, you can also mute their camera, you can mute their sound. However, as the host, you cannot turn on people's camera. You cannot turn on another person's camera. You can only request them to turn on their camera. So you are safe. So what Suresh can do is he can switch off your camera. He cannot turn it on. Okay. And number 9, what it says over here is you can prevent the sending of files over the chat group. So before I even go to that, some of us might be aware that you can actually send files in Zoom. So where and how do you do that? You can do that in the chat option. So if you're using a computer and you open up your chat box, you will see that next to it, there is a button that I can't remember how it looks like. I think it's either 3 dots or there's a word more. If I'm not mistaken, it's 3 dots. You click on it, you will be able to send file. Or, oh, sorry. It's either 3 dots or the word file, F-I-L-E. Either one is intuitive, like there's only one button there. Okay, and you can send files over. So what the host can do is the host can control what types of files are allowed. Say for example, does he allow us to send photos? Does he allow us to send videos or documents or whichever? So the host can control this. And finally, the host can also stop you from chatting by disabling your chat. So what he can do as the host is that if you are the host, you can say that, hey, all participants should not be talking among themselves. They can only chat with me. They can only talk to me. Or he can say that, oh, I allow everybody to chat with everybody. So the host have this option. And if you are looking at this screen at this point of time, you will be finding that, hey, actually a lot of things I cannot do. You can't do because you are not the host. If you are the host, you will be able to do most of them. So any questions about this before we move on? If not, I'm going to jump back right into the virtual background. Okay, let me just show, somebody was asking about the virtual background, right? I can't remember who was that, but let me just show you my virtual background. But before that, let me just turn it off first so you can see how it looks like. Okay, so if now I've turned off my virtual background, you will see that my background is all green. Okay, and how this thing looks like, it looks basically like that. Just give me a minute, I need to get up. Sorry, guys.
While I'm getting his green screen done, Gopalan asked the question, let me just clarify, and that this is the clutter at the background is what is causing you to disappear. If your background is not flat and if it is having so much, like what you see in Hualim's background with the shelf there and it is totally cluttered, when you move with the background switched or turned on with any kind of virtual image or picture, the system cannot really figure out where to put your virtual screen is. When you move, that will start kind of eating into you thinking yourself as also a background, and then there's a bit of a disconnect between all those clutter at the back as well as the virtual and then the foreground. And that's the reason it goes up. And that is the main reason why Hualim was showing and sharing why to and how to use the green screen.
One of the reason is that because they in this feature, what we in the video we call keying. Now it's very hard to key because you are the key. You have to key on the background. Your background is not flat and it's not evenly lit. Now if you do that, in this case, you can't adjust because it's generated by the default setting of the software. So if you move a lot, or you are not evenly light up and all these things. So there's a lot of, and especially when you are having a green background and you wear a green shirt, trust me, you disappear your body, you really left your head. So if you try to match your shirt with the background, green or blue, you will basically have your head floating only and not your body. So in video term, we call this is keying. So if you can, I will personally not say that to you is that you don't have a flat background or even lit background, don't use the virtual background. Don't use the virtual background feature, or you, it's a very distracting. It can be very distracting in a meeting, in a Zoom session. Yeah.
Thank you, Danny. And yes, Suresh, you have something to share?
Yes. Well, that's on the virtual screen. And are you going to?
Yeah, I don't know what you guys want to see, but just let me show this. Let me move away so you can see better. Okay, so this is the screen is exactly the one that I show you in the PowerPoint later. I'll show it to you later again. Okay, and this is actually reasonably sized. What happens is when I open it up, it is about, I don't know, 2 by 1 meters or 2 by 1.5 meters. I carry this around with me. It's very convenient. And a few things about virtual background. The first thing, I think most of the points that Danny has covered is very, very valid. Thank you, Danny. The lighting is important. The texture is important. And more importantly, your shirt that you're wearing, your features is very important. Your lighting is very important. And that's why you have 2 colors, blue and green and blue. Okay, so if you are wearing something that is darker in tone or lighter in tone, just use the green one. If you are wearing something that is very white or colorful, perhaps, I don't know, the blue one, I don't know, I'm not good at colors, but you just see for yourself lah. When you compare yourself to blue or green, which one has more contrast, then use that one. Lighting is very important, and I'm not in the best setup at this point of time, but my recommendation is if you have the ability to do so, make sure you're far away from your background. Okay, the other reason why sometimes the picture looks grainy, even you have everything, is simply because you are too near to the background. Earlier on, I was touching my screen. Try not to be so near, because if your lighting is not good and you're so near to the background, you have shadows. Once you have shadow, the background will look very, very grainy. So lighting is important. Be a little bit further away from your screen if possible. Yep. So, and the last question I think early on was, how do I put the screen behind me? Basically for me, because I don't have space, my house is actually quite small. What I do is I just put it behind. I just put it behind like that. So that was what you all saw earlier on. Just that I open it up. This is closed at this point of time. So I hope that addressed all the questions.
I'll probably, when I share my screen, I'll show where to go and make those changes, because there is an option to check for you to turn on the green screen.
Yeah.
I did not turn it on, my green screen. Maybe I'll just go forward and then show that, then come to security features for them.
Yeah, sure. Suresh, you can also show them the chroma key that Daniel was talking about is at the bottom. So yeah, please do.
Yeah. So are you able to see my desktop?
Yeah, Suresh,
Are
we
you
can see
on
your
mute?
desktop.
We are able to
Okay.
see your desktop, but we cannot see your Zoom control. I don't think you can show your Zoom control. So what you can do is you can do you
I
can open
can.
up PowerPoint.
Well, no, I can't do that. I can go to another screen, which is also the Zoom setting. I will show the Zoom setting here. And then this is not going to be the same how you're going to see in your Zoom session and going to the settings from within the Zoom session. However, just to know and see how this whole thing really gives you the benefit of setting up the virtual screen. Okay, so this is where you're turning on your virtual screen, and this is the setting that you need to do this turn on virtual screen in order for you to see your virtual screen. Okay, but like what Volume said, I could have done it if I have had my iPad and then showing my iPad through that. I did that yesterday. I tried that yesterday. So just to answer that question, if the question is about how do you insert your green screen, not just physically at the back, but also there is a checkbox when you go into the virtual screen window, and there's a checkbox for you to check the green screen. When you click the green screen, it kind of takes the green screen, and then on top of that, you can choose whatever virtual screen that you want to really show and share. Okay, it's a fair bit of echoing. I don't know who is unmuted themselves. If you're having two devices, please go mute yourself and make sure you're muted. Okay, let me just quickly move on to the security tip here. And then when Hualem is trying to do his next part, I'll try to figure out to bring in and show my screen with the host controls. And then you will be able to see what we are talking about with respect to even the security mode. Okay, so security is what you're seeing here after I share. Well, just give me a second. Let me just go and then mute whoever is. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, when you click this security, this is the new feature. You have all these options. The first one, I'll just go from the top. First one is lock meeting. Once the meeting is started, I can lock the meeting as a host so that nobody else can join the meeting after the meeting has started. It is a very good feature, as in, well, I can log the meeting and I know this is the group of people that I need, and then I can log even if that, if I am at all using my personal room ID, I may have given it to multiple people for different meetings. I don't want others to come in. That's one reason. Also,
Suresh,
sorry, we don't see your screen.
Suresh, can I just cut you here? Because they can't see your screen, is it okay if I share my screen? No, we can't see your Zoom control. We can only see your desktop because you will not be able to show your Zoom control through sharing screen.
Ah, okay, all right.
Yeah, so we are simply looking at a plain desktop. So if you can, I'm just going to share my screen so that they will be able to see, because I did a screen capture previously. Okay, so let me just very quickly show you guys what Suresh was talking about earlier on when he's talking about the green screen. This is where the button is, if you can see my screen. When he clicks here.
No, let me stop my share first. Yeah.
Okay, so can see now, right? Okay, so when they click here, when you click on this button, you will see that there's this option say choose virtual background over here. Choose virtual background, and when you come over here to this screen, it will pop into this screen. Okay, and this is where you can change your pictures. Earlier on, Daniel was talking about the keying, the chroma key. This is where you can do your chroma key. You can click on this and you can choose, you can just click on any point of your background to choose the color. Okay, so you can give it a try, because I'm not able to do a demonstration here, but you can give it a try. You'll be able to figure it out on your own. I'm not able to do a demonstration because when we are sharing the screen, you cannot see my Zoom controls. Yep. So I hope that sums up for the green screen. And earlier on, Suresh was talking about the security is actually over here. Only the host have it. Only the host have it. And when you click on this security, he was talking about the first option being lock meeting. So what it means is that this will lock the whole meeting. New participants will not be able to enter. Over here is enable waiting room. So the waiting room is when somebody new join the meeting, they will be put into this meeting room place, and the host or the co-host have to admit them manually by clicking on the admit button. Then the participants can come into the meeting. Earlier on, you guys didn't experience that because Suresh turned it off, because you guys keep popping in. He will be clicking non-stop. It's quite troublesome for him. So he simply just disabled the waiting room. But if you are having a meeting, it's suggested that if you are concerned about security, enable the waiting room, and once the meeting starts, lock the meeting so that no other people, unnecessary people, can come in. And over here, this is the part where we say, do we allow participants to share screen, to chat, to do everything? So these are all the security over here. Anything else I missed out, Suresh?
No.
I think that's pretty much, yes. That pretty up sums up, right?
Sums up. Yep.
Okay. And the next screen that I had is
hang on.
Yeah.
So there are a few questions. Probably we can take them and clear them instead of scrolling
Yes,
up and
sure.
then getting to them, right?
Yes,
Michael earlier asked a question. I'm not really getting the exact meaning of it. Where to open and close the meeting room? If this is about breakout rooms, we will get to that little later, Michael. If it is not, if you're asking about setting up the meeting and then joining the meeting, probably those are the primitive ones. If you can clarify that question, that'll be wonderful, Michael. You can unmute and then probably clarify that question, Michael.
Yeah, I think it's clear for me.
Okay.
It's explained that the host is doing that. So if you want to have a meeting room, the host will need to organize for this. Probably,
yeah, exactly.
Does it mean that, let's say I have 10 people in the group. Can I make it two different groups, two different rooms?
Yeah, you can. We will cover that in a little while.
All right.
So the breakout rooms are the rooms where the control can be given to two separate groups, and someone take control of the other room and facilitate the other discussion, while as opposed you stay on in the first room.
Okay, so that's the only question that I have. Thank you.
Okay, and Inling has a question: how to share screen using MacBook Air? Well, it is like how anything happens. So the way how the whole flow of sharing screen happens in Link is when the host kickstarts the meeting. At that point of kickstarting the meeting, he should activate the option for all the participants be given permission to share the screen. If that option is not turned on, and if everybody joins after that, if the option is turned on, sometimes it does not take effect across all the participants. I have no idea, because the reason why I'm saying this is I've seen both. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. So it is always best as a host, when you join in, and if you know the session is going to be having areas where other participants are going to be sharing their screen, turn the option on. You can click the share button, and there is an option, the up arrow next to the share button as a host, and you will be able to turn on sharing option for all participants. Okay, I think those were the questions. Okay. Back to you, Vagan.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so let me just see what else do we have. Oh, okay, sorry. Earlier on, I was talking about the sharing of files. So just in case you're wondering where is it, let me just show you. Because you can share files, you can share pictures, you can share documents through Zoom if the host allows you to. And if you are the host, you can control that also. So if and you're looking at my screen now, you will see that my chat is actually open over here. You need to open up the chat first. How you do that? Earlier on, you remember there's a control over here where you click on the control chat, right? This box by the side will pop up. Okay, so when it pop up, there's a 3-dot or word file. I cannot remember exactly. Let me just take a look at it. Anyway, I'll confirm that later. But over here, you will be able to see that when you click on it, you have the option as the host to see whether do you allow who do you allow them to chat with and so on and so forth. And at your meeting setting, you can also control as the host before you even start the meeting. You can control what are the types of files that participants can share. So yep, that is about the sharing of files. So I hope that covers. Yeah, it's 3 dots lah. It's 3 dots. So at this point of time, if you're clicking on it, the 3 dot only give you the option to save the chat. You can't share file because that option wasn't made available to us, I think. When Suresh set it up, he did not enable that option. Yep. So you can, as the host, choose to enable it or disable it. Okay, so I think keep the questions coming while I go through the rest. Okay, so the next part I would like to go through is, more importantly, if you are having a meeting, how do you manage a meeting? And I'm looking at this from the perspective as the host, because if you are participants, then you just participate lah. So if you are the host, I think that is more important. So what are the few things? As the host, what you can do is you can mute the audio and video for your participants. But my recommendation is when you are hosting a session like what we are doing now, keep the video on. Okay, so keep the video on, but mute the audio. And some people will say that, hey, if I'm the host, especially when I'm conducting training, what I do is I would prefer my participants to keep the video on. For a simple reason, a lot of people ask me, hey, why do you want to do that? It takes up bandwidth and all that type of things. I don't know whether does it really takes up bandwidth, but what I'm sure is if the video is on, you just imagine, it's like, I always say, it's like when I'm in school, right? I was actually quite naughty. So what happened is the teacher will ask me to sit at the front seat. Sit at the front seat, so I'm consciously aware that the teacher is looking at me, I'm looking at the teacher. So keeping your video on gives you that same psychological effect. So if the participant's video is on, they will be a little bit more attentive and more visible to everybody. So they will be more mindful. Of course, it depends on your comfort level, whether you want them to turn on or off the video. It really depends on you. Okay, so that's a little bit about it. As the host, I would also recommend that you go into gallery view. There are 2 views over here. One is called gallery view, where you can see everybody. If I'm not mistaken, you can see up to a maximum of 49 or 50 person in the gallery view if you're using a computer. If you have more than 50 or something like that, you will have a second screen. You have to toggle to the next screen, because I think that is the maximum that they can fit in, we can fit into the computer. If you're using a handphone, if I'm not mistaken, the gallery views only allow you up to 4 views, 4 participants. But the point is, if you have a gallery view, you have a helicopter view, you will be easier for you to control the mute, unmute, chat and all this, because you can simply go to individual participants. And how do you turn on your gallery view? At the first slide I showed earlier on, it is at the top right side. It's always at the top right side of your control. So that is about the gallery view. I'm just going to go on to the next slide before I check in with you again. The next one is, as the host, you want to be mindful about what I call the active speaker view. So what is this active speaker view? It means that whoever is talking, the spotlight will be on that person that is talking. So for example, now I'm talking, you might be able to see my screen. If your participant screen is on, you might be able to see my screen. So I'm the active speaker. So if somebody else speaks, the spotlight will be on that person. That means the face will come out. Okay, so as the host, you can also control, you have this option to what we call spotlight. Spotlight meaning what? Spotlight meaning that the active speaker view is disabled and the camera will always be pointing on that person that you want to spotlight on. So how do you do that? The fastest and easiest way to do that is that when you're at the gallery view, right? You will see that the person that you want to interact with, at that frame, the camera there, their frame there is 3 dots at the top right side. Click on it, you have all the options. You can mute, unmute, you can ask that person, request that person to turn on the video, you can spotlight, you can chat, you can, all the options are there. And finally, there's this thing called pin video, which all of you can do. All of you can pin video. The difference between spotlight and pin video is that spotlight is controlled by the host. When the host spotlight a video, everybody will be looking at that spotlighted video. However, when you pin video, it is only for yourself. You don't control the rest of the participants. So for example, if I'm pinning Suresh's view at my screen, it doesn't mean that you will see Suresh. But if I am the host and I spotlight Suresh, all of you will see Suresh as that person that is in the speaker's view. So that is the first 3 parts about managing a session. Any questions so far? Okay, I'm just browsing through the chat over here, and I'm just randomly browsing through. I saw that Michael asked a question, can I use a white colored wall as a background? The answer is definitely yes. Yes, you can, but make sure you don't wear white. Like for example, if now I'm wearing white and my background is white, then everything will be chroma. Everything will. So if you are having a white background, then wear something dark. But it can be white, it can be black, it can be whatever. Of course, if you have a black background, then wear white. Simple as that. The contrast. Okay. You can use a well-lit white background, but it's not ideal. Yeah, it's not ideal. It depends. Usually, my recommendation, if you want quality video, is that your lighting should be here. The back should not be lit as much as possible. If you want the back to be lit, use orange color lights. Yeah. What do you mean about having 2 devices? That means you log in with your phone and your 2 phones or camera, a computer and a phone or whichever. Okay. Oh, Serene mentioned this. Recommend doing this at least 15 minutes before your actual meeting. Yes, thank you, Serene. A very good tip over here, and I do that every meeting that I go to. Every time before I join a meeting or I start a meeting, I would first log in on my own. I check, make sure the background is okay, the computer setup is okay, the audio is okay. Then you join the meeting. You can do that anytime. Just host a meeting, see yourself, and then leave the meeting. Yep. Suresh, I think there's a question. Can you show how to get spotlight? I don't know whether you will be able to show that. I don't think you can show that exactly unless you do a print screen. Suresh, you are muted. Okay, while Suresh is trying to do that, let me just quickly show you. I can't show you the spotlight because I'm not the host, but let me try to at least point you in the correct direction. Yeah.
Sorry, Kualam. What was the question? I was trying to get the dual monitor thing just to get showing my window. I tried that a few days back and that was working, so I was trying that out. So what was the question again? Sorry.
How to do a spotlight? How to spotlight a video?
Well,
are you able to demo that?
I don't think I'll be able to demo that.
Okay, let me share then. Okay, I can't share exactly that, but what I just did is I did a print screen of my screen. So you can see this is what I'm looking at now. This is not what you're looking at, but this is what I'm looking at now. Okay, so this was my screen earlier on. What happened, you see, if let's say I want to spotlight myself, actually I can spotlight myself, I can choose not to. Say for example, if Suresh, now imagine this is Suresh's screen, he's the host, and he wants to spotlight me. So what he can do, he can go to, this is my frame, right? You can see my face over here. There's 3 dots. When he moves the mouse over here, there's 3 dots. He can click on that 3 dots and you can see all these options that is appearing. So over here, because I'm not the host, my screen doesn't have that spotlight option. But if you are the host, over here, somewhere over here, you would have an option called spotlight. So you just simply need to click on it. Okay, and then how do you end the spotlight? The same way, you just go to that participant, click on that 3 dot over there, and then click on cancel spotlight. So once again, go to that person that you want to spotlight on, click on that 3 dot over there, and then the options will all appear. I hope that clarifies.
Hey, well, let me just try to share again and see if my luck works this time.
Okay, sure. Please go ahead.
This goes up and...
Thanks, yeah. While Suresh is trying to do his setup, you know, just now what Hualim showed the drop down, you see there's a rename. That rename function is very important, especially for those of us who are doing training, and more so training with government funded like WSG or Skills Future. Most of the time, learner may have logged in with their own nickname and so on and so forth, and you require the learner to change or rename themselves as according to the NRIC number. Now, either the learner can do it themselves, or sometimes they can't, but if you are the host, you can rename their name for them. This is a very important part of the function if you're hosting, and especially you're doing training. I hope maybe that can add more to what Xia has said. Xia, maybe you want to show that screen again where you drop down menu, so there's the word rename down there.
Sure, Suresh. Can I take over and share screen just to show that while you try that?
Yeah, go ahead. I think I need to have the second device in order to show from the second device.
Dual monitor, is it?
Well, not just dual monitor. Dual monitor still tried, that did not work. Dual monitor is useful when you're doing a sharing of the presentation. I have some tips there. We will cover that later. I'm talking about the second device. I'm going to just grab an iPad and then just give it a shot, because that part is very key. And we will get to your whiteboard question in a short while.
Okay, Danny, you actually requested for this screen, right?
Steven, it was me who requested that that's the rename button. I hope everybody sees it. After the mute, stop, and video, there's this rename button. This rename is quite important for those of us who are doing training, especially government-sponsored training, because many of us or the learner may log in just using their nicknames. But most government programs will require them to put in the NRIC. So this is either they click on this whole button to rename themselves, or if you are the host, you can rename it for them. You can try right now, actually later on, if you back into the screen and can rename yourself and see how it works. Thanks. I thought just highlight this point.
Thanks, Danny. That is very, very interesting and very, very important, especially for those who are conducting training. And if I may just add on to that for Danny, my personal recommendation when I'm conducting classes, what I do is that I teach them how to do that rename. And what I actually want them to do, you can give it a try now. You can try to do your rename. And when you open up that box, you will see that below that, there is actually a chat option, a tick you can tick to say that, do you want to use this new name for future meetings or something to that extent. So usually I will ask them to tick that. So once you tick that, because I don't know about yours, but for my training is I will end the meeting during lunchtime. After lunch, they will come back. The next day, they will come back, and so on and so forth. You don't need to repeat this process over and over again. You just need to do this once and make sure, if they don't know how to do it, they are not going to change their name after they did it. So it will stay there, it will stay there. But you, as the host, can also rename for them, but you are not able, if you start doing that, it will be repetitive. Every session they come in, you need to rename for them. It's really up to you. It's really up to you.
Could you just repeat where the tick function is for the rename?
When you click on that, on your own screen, you are renaming for yourself. You click on it, you will see that the rename, right? When you, it doesn't come out, huh? Okay, I'm surprised. I believe it could be because of the setting. I'm not exactly sure. Because usually for mine, when you click on the rename, right, below there should have a box that says that you can rename for future meetings. I believe this has to do with the setting. Yep. Yeah, it doesn't have. I'm sorry, the button there doesn't have. I believe this has to do with the setting when Suresh set it up. I'm not exactly sure about that. Okay, any other questions? Oh, I see Madeline asked a question. I unchecked the green screen button. Computer doesn't meet requirement. You need to have the latest Mac OS version. If not, that green screen option need to be there. You need to be ticked. You can't resolve it. The only way to resolve it is to upgrade to the latest Mac OS version. Stephen, I hope the rename thing is mentioned. Via is asking about whiteboards. Suresh, you managed to sort out the dual monitor?
It's going to be the last try, probably. Let me try. Definitely the whiteboard thing will work from my iPad. So I've joined in as an iPad user. The only thing that won't work, this I learned just now, I just learned. All right, as part of devices, number of devices that you can connect to using one single account, it can be just one laptop or one desktop. And you can, of course, have another iPad or an iPhone or an Android phone. So devices wise, you can have up to a maximum of 3, one phone, one tablet, and one laptop. So now I'm on 2, just to show you. So this is what, because of my screen, it is not showing up. All right, so that's my laptop, my iPad, where I'm trying to share my iPad into this session as an iPad device. Okay, let me just give it a try. Hey, Walem, just go on, continue with your stuff, and I need to connect back to the same Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Suresh, sorry. Okay, thank you. Okay, I think just to also just touch a little bit, I don't really understand the question from Via about the whiteboard, but let me just try to attempt to see whether we can show it, whether do I address that question. What I'm doing now is that I'm sharing using a whiteboard, and if I do that, this is what we will see. Basically, it's literally a whiteboard. I hope all of you can see that. And you can use it exactly like a whiteboard. So you can write, if you know how to write using a mouse. I can't do that, but yeah, I'm trying my best. Yeah. So it's exactly like a whiteboard. Yeah. So that is the whiteboard. I hope I answered that question, Via. Yep. And oh, sorry, one more thing I thought it might be interesting while we wait for Suresh. Yeah? If you are collaborating, especially during a meeting or even conducting training, it will be even more useful, regardless of whiteboard or sharing your screen. What I can do as a host, or as long as I'm sharing my screen, I doesn't need to be my host. So for example, let me go to my whiteboard again. Okay, so this was my whiteboard earlier on, right? So I can allow people to write on my whiteboard. I can allow people to actually so-called take over the control. Okay, so let me just, sorry, I closed it accidentally. Let me just share it again. So if you see at the control there, I don't know whether you guys are able to find it, but you should be able to see that there's a control option. It looks like a little bit blue somewhere at the top of your screen, if I'm not mistaken. You have not shifted. And you will be able to see that there's this option called annotate. Okay, so you can actually annotate, you can write. Yeah, I saw Dea is doing that. He actually tap on my screen, say, hi, this is Dea. So you can actually get people to join in and write, or say, for example, if somebody is talking about something and I say, hey, I don't understand what you're talking. Can you draw it and show me? And then I show the whiteboard, that person can start drawing. Yep, I see all that collaboration coming in. Fantastic. Ray testing, fantastic.
Shall I try again if the whiteboard stuff is done?
Okay, you can see the whiteboard actually got more than a few options. I can have eraser, I can erase, I mean, we can do all that. It's interesting, it's interesting. So this is very good for collaboration. So maybe if you want just another 10-15 seconds more to give it a try, and we will move on from here.
Hey, when done, let me know. I'll give it another try. If that is not working, then we'll just move on and share something else. Because it was working. If that works later, I'll probably record it and then share it with the team later.
Sure. Okay. Can you erase or draw what you type? I can erase. See, I'm erasing. I think others are erasing. So just give it a try. You'll see that the options where you get the pen, right? You have draw, you got stamp, you got spotlight, you got eraser. I can even clear all the drawings, all my drawings, or whichever. Give it a try.
And there was a question about how to open the whiteboard. So whiteboard is when you click the share, and in the share option, you will see multiple things, and one of them is whiteboard.
Okay, another 10 more seconds and I will move on from here. Okay, the next part, I'm still at this screen, but the next part what I'm going to do is I need somebody to, sorry, Suresh, you're showing your screen, is it? Yep, you are. Oh no, this is Michael's screen.
Okay, let me share my screen and then see if this works now. Okay, it's a little jittery. Let's not waste time, Harlem.
Oh, sorry? I see a question over here. How do you share a PowerPoint slide? It is also the same, Elaine. You just go to the share button. The share button is at the bottom right, at the bottom center of your screen. Click on the share screen button and you will see the option. So if your PowerPoint is opened up and you even open up a slideshow, you will see that one of the options for you to share is to share your PowerPoint slideshow. So whichever option you choose. Yep.
Well, then let's continue. So that was not working because I was having too much of jitter. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay, and while we are at this, I don't know, all of us looking at Simon's screen. Simon, I know you are doing that. Okay, so I'm just going to need you to help me with this demonstration. What I'm doing now, if you see at the top of our screen, right, there's this option called View Options. And what I'm going to do, I click on it, I'm going to request remote control from Simon. I hope she grant me the control. And when I do that, and if she grants me the control, I would be able to control her mouse. So, yeah, Simon, you will see that next to your screen, there's this request control, right? Is it okay if you grant me your control? And I will not click on anything. I will just try to move the mouse to demonstrate to them.
Where is it?
Okay, let me try again.
My screen lost already. My screen got lost.
Okay, can you cancel?
I lost the screen.
Cancel. At your screen, do you see there's this? Do you want to leave this meeting? Can you click on cancel for me, please?
Cancel. I already canceled earlier, but I lost it.
Okay, it's okay. You click that. Okay, you enter request. You click on the Zoom button. Okay, there's a blue button over there. Do you see white next to the white screen? Xiao Hua Lim is requesting access.
Approve. Okay.
Approve.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm still not controlling your screen.
Yeah, the whole screen that
your
disappeared.
Whole screen is gone, huh?
Yeah, I don't know how to get it back.
Okay, I'm not able to control your screen exactly. I think so. No, I'm not able to control your screen, Simon. Maybe the approval didn't go through. You go back to click on the Zoom button, and you hopefully are able. No, I'm controlling your screen. Okay, can you stop moving your mouse? Let me try. Oh, I can't. Okay, sorry. I think we skipped that.
No, I think why it is happening because there are too many other people are doing their screen share.
Oh.
Okay, it might be clashing with each other, and
okay,
that's the reason.
Yeah, Suresh, maybe you can just stop all the screen sharing for all of us. You go to the view option and you stop all the screen sharing.
That's done.
Okay. let's move on. Where were we? Okay, so screen sharing, we spoke about it. We talked about remote control. Remote control, I don't know why it doesn't really work. I think maybe some issue is
You can try. Now you can try now, because it was everybody else were trying to share their screen, and then it was overlapping with each other probably. Now it is only one person share option turned on.
Okay, let me see whether. No, I think maybe you can just stop all the sharing. And then maybe we can do the demonstration with me and you. I give you access to my computer.
Okay.
Sure. So for example, if I want Suresh to help me and I don't know how to operate, right? So what I can do is I can share my screen to Suresh. So actually I'm sharing my whole screen now with Suresh. I think all of you can see my messy desktop. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to give Suresh my control. So let me look for Suresh. Or he can actually request for me to give him the control too. But either way, it works. So let me see. Okay, Suresh. So Suresh, you should have control to my mouse at least. So you can try to, yeah. So you can see now my hands are up. Suresh is actually controlling my computer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what is happening.
Yeah, so he can actually operate my computer. So good and bad. You can
take it back before anything more bad happens.
but that also means that if I'm not around, Suresh can do whatever he wants to my computer. Yeah. So yep. So something for us to be aware of. And I think it's very helpful. How I learned this is where previously I was having some issues with my computer, and the company that I'm working with, the IT support is in India. I mean, as usual, India, the Indians at India are very good at it. So what they do is they will then Zoom me and they will take over my computer and do whatever they need to do. And then after that, resolve all the issues. So I think that this is something that's very useful for some of us who might at certain point of time need certain help. Okay, and that's remote control, sharing of videos. Okay, this is just to highlight when sometimes you are sharing a video, how you do that is exactly still the share screen option. But below there, when you click on share screen, you will see that there's an option say optimize your screen sharing for sound, for video, or whichever. Make sure if you are sharing a video, you check that, you tick that, so that people can hear the volume from your video. Okay, I hope that's clear enough. When you are sharing your video, make sure that you check the sound. Okay, and what else? I think the next thing that I have in mind here is the breakout room. Suresh, do you want to demonstrate the breakout room?
Just a second before going on to the breakout room, just on the sharing. So if you are sharing your presentation, for example, okay, so when you click the share, you will see a pop-up window opening up, which has multiple options, like what was shared earlier. You see whiteboard. You also see things like connections to your iPhone, iPad kind of devices. So that means one single account you can share. That's what I was just now trying to show, if that works well for me to do the sharing of the controls. Somehow it was not working. Then the other option is you can share your whole desktop, like what Hua Lim just shared and then gave the control over. The other thing that you can do is you can just share one single application. Either it can be a PowerPoint, one of your windows in your desktop that you can share. As far as PowerPoint goes, if you're presenting something and you have speaker notes in your presentation, you don't want people to see your speaker notes. There are multiple ways to do that, but the easiest I will share right now, which is using dual monitor. What you do is you connect your second monitor as a presentation layer. So once you plug in, you will have your video slideshow going to your second monitor. And in your primary monitor, you will have your presentation with the speaker notes. And then you click share. When you click share, you will see two options to share, whether to share with the speaker notes or to share the slideshow for the users. So when you click that, and everybody in the Zoom session will only see that and they won't see your speaker notes. Yeah?
Suresh, why don't you consider doing a demo? Share your any PowerPoint and then share the clip on video so they can have a feel of how is it like. If it's not
okay. Yeah. That's a quick one. I can do that. Just give me a second. All right. I've just plugged in my second monitor. I'm seeing everything in the other monitor. So I'm going to open up one of my slide decks. And in my slide deck, this is something that you're not yet seeing. Just give me a second. Okay, first let me share. So what are you seeing now? Are you seeing just the presentation which says stay secure, relevant after crisis?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, this is the viewer's view of the slide deck. But for me, I'm looking at what I am seeing with some speaker notes. Let me just get to a slide. Yeah, this slide has some speaker notes. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the sharing of that view and then click again to share my other view, which is with the speaker notes. Can you see now with the one with the speaker notes? Okay, so what you're going to see, what you're not seeing in front right now is when you click the share button, when the pop-up window opens, you will see two sets of the same slide deck, one with presentation, one without presentation. So you click one, so one with notes, one without notes. So you click the one without the notes so that the Zoom participant will see the one without the notes. Okay. If you are using, I think Windows 10 also has this multiple desktop option. That's another way to do. You can create multiple desktops. My Mac has that. So I can create multiple desktops and click back and forth. Very strenuous, because by doing this way with Dual Monitor, when you keep moving your slides, you don't have to do twice, unlike what you would end up doing with two desktops. Okay, just to show the annotation, probably earlier this was shared a little bit. This is something very handy in my opinion, where while sharing something, you can probably do stampings, like when you cover something, oh, this has been covered. Bullet points, this has been covered. Bullet points, this has been covered. And also you can keep drawing things, like somebody started doing that, right? And you can highlight things with a circle. Yeah, this is more like a pointer that we do with a laser pointer when you do your physical presentation. It's even more powerful, and you can erase everything and keep going with your next slide. And okay, all right, let me stop sharing. All right, what were we going to do was breakout rooms. If you are a host, what you will see, first up, you have to turn on the breakout rooms option in the settings. By default, it is not turned on. So as a host, you have to turn it on. And one thing that I learned from Hua Lim yesterday is that this breakout session, very interestingly, is being given in the free account as well. So what you don't get in Zoom free account is unlimited time duration, like what we are running, almost like 1.5 hours, an hour, 45 minutes. The limit is 24 hours for a paid account. For a free account, it is 40 minutes. But nevertheless, if you are running a very small group, like 3 or 4 people, it is still okay. 40 minutes is going to drop, and tell the people, prompt the people before 40 minutes to rejoin, okay? The same link you can use and reconnect, and everything will be smoothly running. It's just a matter of a couple of minutes getting out and coming back here. And the breakout session is really very useful. I think Michael asked, and a few others as well asked about, yeah, I have a group of people that they want to discuss separately. And in the peer coaching sessions that I have seen in ICA, and that's the first time ever I had that opportunity. So when you do the breakout session, there is a breakout rooms option in the host screen at the bottom, where you saw the security participants and screens. The breakout session, I click the breakout session. It says 6 to 7 participants per room, okay? Currently, what it suggests me is there are 43 participants, and I'm just reading out what I'm seeing as part of breakout rooms pop-up window is showing me. It's asking me by default, you can split them 6 to 7 participants in 7 rooms. That is an automatic thing. I do have an option to manually split rooms. So just checking with you, Hua Lim, should we break everybody out and bring them back later?
Sure. You okay, just let me add on a little bit more. When you open up a breakout session, you will see that there are a few options. The first option is you can choose the number of rooms. And when you click on that, you can toggle. And if you choose automatically, it will toggle. Say, for example, say now there are 44 of us, right? So you can toggle. If you choose to have, say, for example, 8 rooms, then it will tell you maybe 5 to 6. If you say that I have 6 rooms, then maybe it will tell you 8 to 9 or whichever. You can toggle the average amount. Automatically, it will split for you. If you want to adjust and reassign the participants manually, you can just go to individual participants, click on the name, and the option will come out and show you can move to room 1, 2, 3 or whichever. And the other thing is you can also rename the group, the rooms. By default, if I'm not mistaken, it's breakout room 1, breakout room 2, breakout room 3, and so on and so forth. But you can rename it to whatever names that you like. That's the next thing. The other thing that you need to know is as a host, you have the ability to broadcast a message, because everybody, after they enter the breakout room, right, they will be on their own little groups. As a host, you will be able to broadcast a message and say, hey guys, the session is going to end in 1 minute or 2 minutes or whatever, please come back, or please take note of things like. You can broadcast a message and everybody will be able to get the message. That's the next point. And the last point is, as the host, after you assign everybody, you need to, I think it's open room or start session, and then you will see everybody will start disappearing. So my suggestion is, why not, Suraj, we give it a try, and then you end room. And bearing in mind that when you end the room, depending on your setting, if I'm not mistaken, by default, participants will have 1 minute. If I still don't come back automatically, I don't choose to come back after that time that you stipulated, and you can change the timing during setting, when you are setting up in your room setting. Say, for example, the setting is 1 minute. After you close all the room, 1 minute later, everybody, you like it or not, will all come back here. So, yeah. So I would suggest you give it a try and see how the breakout room works.
Yeah, we'll do that. I just shared my desktop again, just in the view of a lot. Are you able to see the gallery view of all participants?
No, we are not able to see your Zoom controls. That means we are not able to see your Zoom screen at all. So if you like to show that, perhaps what you can do is you open up your PowerPoint, right? You share a PowerPoint, you do a print screen, you paste the picture there. that was what I was doing. Yeah, if not, they can't see your Zoom control.
Okay, just a second.
And the other thing while Suresh is getting that sorted out, right? Let me also share, as the host or as a trainer or whichever, you can jump around breakout rooms. So what I like to do for my training, for example, I usually have about 4 groups. So what I do is I will then allocate my time. You just imagine you're in a classroom, everybody doing group discussion, then you will just hop on to one group, kaypoh a little bit, chit chat, find out how they are doing, and then you exit, you move on to the second group. That's exactly what you can do in the breakout room yourself. And all these options are actually very intuitively available there on the box. When you break them up, the box will still be there. You can say, okay, I want to go to group 1, for example, and join them. When you click on the group, you will have the option to join. And then you have the option to leave the group, or you can just jump to the next group. You go to the same breakout room option there, and then you click on group 2, join. Then you'll be jumping over to the group 2 and 3, and so on. So you can actually jump across the groups, and you can broadcast messages. The only thing you need to bear in mind is that, say for example, now I'm in breakout room 1, you are in breakout room 2. I will not be able to chat with you through the Zoom message. I will not be able to chat with you because you are not in the same room as me. So that's the only thing that we need to take note of. So as the host, if you want to communicate to everybody, like for example, now you break them up into groups, right? In a physical classroom, and you want to talk to everybody, you have to go to the center of the class and then shout, hey, everybody listen up, yeah. So how you do that is a broadcast option at the bottom of your breakout room screen. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
so
one thing to mention about breakout rooms. For those of you who need recording for the sessions, just remember breakout rooms will not be recorded on cloud. Breakout rooms can only record on your hard disk. So not going to technical, all this can be set when you go into breakout room. Yeah, just for information. In case you need to do recording.
Yes,
Okay.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks. Yeah, just to add on to Stephen's point, thank you, Stephen, for pointing out a very, very important point. If recording is essential to you, how the recording works is firstly, like what Stephen mentioned, when you're on crowd, it doesn't record the breakout rooms at all. If you want to record the breakout room, you have to record it on your local computer. And on the local computer, you have to be in that breakout room for the recording to happen. So if say, for example, if I'm the host, I'm recording on my computer, I need to go to breakout room 1, and only then will breakout room 1 be recorded. I need to jump to breakout room 2, and basically it's recording what the host is looking at. Yep.
Okay, what we'll do is we will break out into 3 rooms. Okay, 7, 8 is going to be too many.
That would
Right?
be fun, Suresh.
Yeah, so we will do 3 breakout rooms and then we will come back again. So let me just do that. It's going to be 13, 14 people in one room. Okay, I'm just going to read out who is going to be in room 1. B1, B2. B has 2 devices. Brel, Francis, Sharon, Dayal, Doha, Elaine, Huilong, Hazel, James, Linde, Exa, Stephen, and Simon. Stephen, I think probably with the things you can probably play with stuffs and facilitate breakout room 1. Can you?
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Okay, second room is Gabriel, Gopalan, Leslie, Madeline, Melinda, Pauline, Ramesh, Raymond, Kualam, Teresa, and Inleng. Yeah, Kualam, if you can take care of room 2. Can you?
Sure, no problem. Sure.
All right. Well, so if you're showing hands, my window was blocking you, so I didn't see you showing that. Breakout room 3 is Agnes, Anne, Benjamin, Erika, George, Ivy, Kripal Singh, Michael, and ML, Rupak, Rose, Tim, Via. All right. Well, at this point of time, when I open up this, and these are the options, but in this option, like what Walam earlier mentioned, I can move some of these people up and down. For example, room 2, I'm seeing room 2, Raymond in room 2, Hualim in room 2, few other people, right? So if I decide to say, let's say, move Raymond out of room 2 and move him to, let's say, room 1. I'm just going to do that. So I can move him to either room 1 or room 3. He's in room 2. I'm just moving him to room 1. Okay, so what will happen is he is moved now to room 1, and you can make those movements, or afterwards, when you are having some people not assigned, you can kind of remove some of them out and keep, well, not removing them out, moving a bigger population to the primary room and having only few people move to other 2 rooms. Okay, I'm done. I'm going to open all the rooms now. So at this time, what you are seeing here as blank is 3 breakout sessions are happening with 3 different group of people. Those are not recorded in the recording. So after a while, all those 3 groups are pulled back into the main room. So this gap is something which and where the 3 different groups were kind of as a group spending some time playing with some of the share features, whiteboard features, and then all of them were pulled back by the host to the main room.
Oh, the rest are
still in the room. Not sure how to come back.
Yeah, still in the room. Okay. So for the rest of us who are back here, just to also share a little bit, we have jumped out from the breakout room to here, right? This is the main screen. Okay. So again, if you look at your control below, there's an option called breakout room. Do you all see that? If you look at your control below, there's an option called breakout room. You can click on that because earlier on we have been assigned to room 2 or whichever room we have been assigned. So I have now hopped back to the main room, right? I can join back to the previous breakout room where I came from. Yeah, but this is only because the breakout room is still in session. The host has not stopped it yet, so I can still join back in, and I can still. This is the only 2 places that we can move around at this point of time.
Okay, back into one single room, but it seems to be we have lost quite a number of them. I have no idea why.
Okay, you can try to. Oh, you have closed the breakout room. Yeah. I think they are on the way, slowly transiting back.
Yeah.
So maybe just wait for a few seconds. They should be
We
back.
got on the screen that we have 1 minute to shift into the main room. So I'm back into the main room. I think.
Okay.
I think they are transiting back. Yeah.
Yeah, so it should take another 30-40 seconds.
Yeah, well, so one of the things that I showed them is pulled everybody from room 3 and then moved them to room 1, just to have a feel about how we can switch people from one room to another room. And the other room had about 20 odd people, and probably they are coming back into this.
Oh, we are back. So sad. So sad.
Suresh. A quick question. If a person forget his room, is he able to know which room you go, or he has to join himself, or you can just push him there?
So if no room is allocated to a person,
he's allocated, but he forgot. Let's say he tried room 2, he might thought it's room 3, but after that he find that he can't go into room 3.
Okay, while you are in the breakout session, you will have a ask for help or a question mark in the window underneath. You can click that and then request saying that, no, I'm in a wrong room, I should be somewhere else. And once that goes back, it will pop up, it will give a message back to the host, then the host can come back and probably move you up. And with the technology, probably the other way around to do is WhatsApp. But again, if somebody is on Zoom, they're not going to look at the WhatsApp.
Right.
Otherwise, they have the WhatsApp window in the laptop as well.
Right. Thanks.
Okay, well, I do know that some of them had to drop off today being the Saturday. So that was okay. And we are at the top of the hour, top of the second hour. It's almost 2 hours right now. And I believe people were excited about learning. And what more we are going to cover? Is there anything more that you want to cover, Paul?
Okay, thank you, Suresh. I just have, before I go on, let me just answer that question by Teresa. She's asking, if you are not host, can you join other breakout room not assigned to you? The answer is no. Only the host can assign. You cannot just hop on to any other groups. Okay, and I have a few more slides, but I thought that let me just cover one more slide, which I think it is important, and I'm just going to briefly talk about this. This is additional features. I thought it's important that we know what Zoom is capable of, and then we can explore it, because the problem with a lot of us that we face is we do not know the capability of Zoom and what it can do. Learning is very easy. Once you know about this feature, in fact, you can just go to the Zoom support website or even YouTube, and you will be able to figure it out, or even on your own. So let me just share a little bit about what you can use Zoom to do, what you can do with Zoom. The first thing is you can do recording. In fact, one of the things I do when I'm doing my online training, I do online courses also. So I need to record videos and YouTube videos. Sometimes I'm just so lazy to go to my office to set up all the camera and lighting. What I do is that I'll just set up my laptop, I'll turn on the Zoom, I will go into a meeting, I will go, and then I'll start the recording. And after that, the recording become a video that I can post on YouTube or Facebook. And the wonderful thing about this is that I can do a recording of my PowerPoint slides or how I operate the computer if I need to. Because if I'm just recording my face, I can easily do it with a phone. But if I want to do a recording of my computer while I'm doing what we call a screencasting, I can use Zoom, go to share screen and do the recording. So that's the first thing. Second thing about this, a lot of people didn't realize. In fact, a lot of people didn't know that Zoom has these abilities of doing captions. What do I mean by captions? So say, for example, if we are an international group, recently what I did is we had an international meeting where people from different countries actually came into Zoom. So unfortunately, I was being appointed as the so-called the person to type the transcription. So what happened is when the speaker is speaking, I'm the one that's listening in and I'm typing what he's speaking. So this is what it means by caption. And we have somebody else who is able to do the translation. If not, they can translate it themselves. The system actually has this auto translation thing. So captions means that, for example, now I'm speaking, somebody will be typing exactly what I'm saying. So you can have this option of captions. You don't often see it in Zoom, but it is available. You just need to go to the room setting to set it there. Unfortunately, it is only available for paid account. So for example, Suresh has a paid account, he's able to do that. If you do not have a paid account, you can't. The third thing is remote control. While we spoke about earlier on, you can let somebody else take over the control of your computer. I'm not going in further detail. The next point over here, far end camera control. This is only if you have a webcam that has a pan tilt zoom feature. If you have such a camera, you can actually, this is more for advanced usage. While if you say you have a pan tilt zoom camera, it's like you are doing a studio production. Okay, then somebody can control, I want to zoom in, see your pimple, zoom out, see your whole face, sort of thing. You can actually do that. It is amazing. The last one is there are a lot of apps that you can integrate. I have not exactly tried integration with third-party apps before because all the while my personal account is a free account. The only paid account that I have are from organizations that I work with. So I don't go and play with all this third-party integration. But my knowledge so far, what I'm aware of is that you can integrate a lot of so-called applications to make it even more powerful. So I thought these are some of the possibilities that if you're interested to take your Zoom meeting to another level, you can explore it. It's very interesting. Yep. So I think that is generally all I have for this slide. Yep. Thank you.
Walim, you were supposed to share that part about people getting kicked out from their rooms.
Oh, okay. Sorry. This is with regards to if let's say you are in a breakout room. If you're in a breakout room, and it happens very, very frequently, when you're in a breakout room, your connection somebody's connection will usually get broke off, and they might just leave the whole session entirely. They just drop off from the whole meeting entirely. So if you are the host, what happens is this participant will have to come back. So my advice is first, you want to make sure that you don't lock the meeting when you are doing breakout room, because if you lock the meeting, they can't come back. Okay, so make sure you don't lock the meeting if you are going into breakout room. And what happens is when they drop off from the meeting, they will have to re-sign back. So if say, for example, now I drop off from the breakout room, I have to go in back. Most of the time, depending on your computer, if it's just a reset, you will automatically reconnect back in a short while. If not, you have to physically come back in. Okay, and when you are the host, somebody comes back in, they will not automatically go back into the breakout room. What is going to happen is that the host have to reassign this person into the respective breakout room. So yeah, that is about it lah. As the host, you have to be mindful when you're managing breakout room. Make sure that anybody that falls out, you put them back in again. Anything else that I missed? It would be good if you show a screenshot of how to create a breakout room. Yeah, like what Stephen mentioned, go to zoom.us. There are many videos on many different topics. Let me just show a little simple screenshot that I captured earlier on. Actually, I didn't capture, but what I did is I went to the internet because I am not able to capture a screenshot of the breakout room. I'm not the host, but what I did is I went to the internet to just find some photos. Let me see where's the photo breakout room. Okay, no, not this. Okay, sorry. This is the screen. So earlier on when Suresh was breaking us up, what he see on his screen is a breakout room button at point number 1 here, the square that is divided into 4 mini square. He click on it, a box like this will appear. This is the breakout room. Okay, and earlier on we were saying that you can decide how many rooms you have, right? This is the number 2 is where you toggle between how many rooms do you want to have. This is the part. Okay, and then we were saying that he can have how many participants, all this, right? You will see this is the part. When you toggle, this will tell you how many participants per room. Okay, and once that is done, what Suresh did is he will then click on this button called Create Breakout Room. However, bearing in mind when he create breakout room, we are still at the main screen. What he will see on his screen is something that look like this, but not exactly this. This, I'm not mistaken, this is the old screen. But what he will see is something like this. He will see breakout room 1, breakout room 2, depending on how many rooms you have, so on and so forth. Who is inside the breakout room, respectively. He will see all this information. If you want to move them, he will just need to click on the name. They will have an option say move to that appears. He can then click on move to, and then you will say room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4, room 5. He will choose the room, whichever room that he wants to move this person to. Okay, he can also choose to exchange with another person. Okay, once everything is done, everything is in order, he would then have to click on this button, say open all rooms, and then all the rooms will break out. And you will see that notification on your screen to say that the host has asked you to join this room, then we join. So that is a summary of how this whole process works. I hope we are all following. Any other things that I missed out?
One last
Can I
question.
invite only myself to practice the presentation? Yes, Agnes, you can just start a meeting, don't invite anybody. You go to your Zoom, you host a meeting, and you will be in, and you can do everything. But the only thing is, you cannot break out people, but you still can go through that option. You still can go through and see how it works, but just that you don't have people to allocate into the room. But you can, and I strongly encourage that. I strongly encourage that.
I have one last question.
Yes.
That portion on the caption when you were talking about transcribing when somebody was talking and using it and writing out captions. Where do you see that on the screen? That option?
Sorry. Okay. Even before, in order for that to appear, you need to enable captions on your Zoom website. So you need to go online to the browser, go to zoom.us, log in with your account. It is only available for paid account. It's only available for paid account. Okay. Yes, and you have to enable it in your room management. And then you will see the option. Again, the options are all below your screen. You mean when you move your mouse, right? The options will come out. You will have this option called captions. And once that is enabled, all the participants will also see that, and the participant can choose like whether to turn on or off the caption. It's like you watch YouTube, you can turn on the caption, the subtitle, right? Okay. Exactly as that.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other things that we have missed out?
Okay, I'll just share a link because there seems to be a lot of interest in using and managing breakout sessions. I've given you a link. This is pretty easy and straightforward. I will share the link in the WhatsApp group also. Just if you want to spend your afternoon Saturday playing with whatever that we have gone through in the last couple of hours.
Okay. Any final notes? Okay, if there's nothing, I need to go. But before I go, I would like to share just one final note. With all of us. You can go to this website, support.zoom.us, or you can just simply go to zoom.us, and then the support option is found somewhere at the top portion of it. You go to the support.zoom.us site, you will be able to find everything from videos to articles to whatever. This is extremely helpful. The information here is extremely concise and brief, but very effective. In fact, most of the things that I've learned from Zoom throughout the past 2 years was simply just going to this website, watching the video, watching the reading the articles, and then the most important thing is just host a meeting and then try to do it and practice lah. So you can always host a meeting on your own, nothing to do, just try it. Yeah, that's my one and only advice.
I just remembered something. I'll just share. I know quite a lot of the folks have left. About the virtual background, you can also do a mild video or moving picture as your background. What I have found out is when you do that, even with the green screen, sometimes you do see outer border lines of yourself when you keep on moving, right? With the moving picture at the background, that will get minimized. But one caution there, when you have such a background, that's going to eat into your battery. Okay, don't try that on a mobile phone or one. If at all you want to play with it, okay, play with it, and that's really fun. Okay, when you start doing this, and then you will find what you really want as a different set of Zoom sessions that we would end up doing, right? It can be a one-on-one session. You don't really need to care about background and just use it as a natural background. And if you are doing a very professional kind of a presentation, webinar, maybe making the background less distracting with a virtual background is a lot more useful. One of the things that I do is I will just pull my kids as my testing ground to ask them to go to Zoom and then see how it really looks and feels. What you're going to be seeing as yourself hosting as a host is going to be different when somebody else as a participant seeing you in a different screen and window. Okay, any last comments, questions? It's more than 2 hours, almost getting to 2.5 hours. Thanks for the energy. Thanks very much, Hualim, for literally sharing and guiding this whole thing. And must thank Stephen and the other members in the coaching community really pushed to make this happen, right? Danny left. He's been sharing quite a lot. He's the audiovisual guy. So we can learn quite a lot from him as well. And of course, some things that we were not able to do today, there should be a way to do it. I will find out, figure out, and then share if I find something more interesting. Okay, and then going forward, probably we can have similar common interested topics and come in and do this kind of sharing. We'll be happy to co-facilitate. We'll be happy to use my paid account to do that. Don't worry about that. Yeah. And thank you very much. Great learning. Have a wonderful rest of your today. And
take care,
thank
everyone.
you. Thank everybody.
Thank you,
Stay
everyone.
safe.
Yeah. Good weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Thanks a lot.
Everyone, thanks for calling. Right, very good session. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dale.
Right. Bye.